Right, let's talk about Bitcoin. You know, that digital gold that your nephew won't shut up about? Well, the grown-ups in suits, specifically the massive investment firm BlackRock, decided they wanted a piece of that volatile pie. They launched their iShares Bitcoin Trust, or IBIT for those who like their financial jargon snappy, and for a while it was all sunshine and digital rainbows. Money poured in day after day like lemmings to a cliff, but, you know, a potentially profitable cliff. It was a golden goose laying digital, slightly bewildering eggs every single bloody day. This thing was a rocket, a veritable titan of inflows, making headlines and probably a few traditional bankers rather nervous. But then, oh dear, the music, or at least the frantic cha-ching of incoming cash, seemed to pause. On the rather specific date of May 30th, 2025, which was, let me check my notes, just yesterday, the unthinkable happened. BlackRock's IBIT, the golden child of Bitcoin ETFs, didn't just see less money come in. No, it actually saw money leave. A whopping $36.9 million walked out the door. Yes, you heard that right. $36.9 million decided it had better places to be than in BlackRock's supposedly unshakable Bitcoin fortress. This wasn't just a trickle, it was a proper, noticeable gush, enough to make even the most stoic financial analysts spill their tea. Now, to put that $36.9 million outflow into perspective, you have to understand just how colossal this IBIT fund has become. We're not talking about a plucky little startup here. This is BlackRock, people. They don't do small. Since its launch, this Bitcoin ETF has ballooned, swelling up to an absolutely staggering $22.5 billion in assets under management. That's billion with a B. It's more money than some small countries have in their entire GDP. So, whilst 36.9 million might be a rounding error for the total fund, the direction of flow is what's causing all the fuss. It's like seeing a single rat jump off a supposedly unsinkable ship. It makes you wonder. And here's the kicker, the cherry on top of this slightly concerning cake. This wasn't just any old outflow. This was the largest single-day net outflow since the IBIT ETF first graced the markets. After an impressive 31-day streak of only seeing money pour in, this sudden reversal is a bit like your reliably cheerful Labrador suddenly refusing its breakfast. It's unexpected, it's a bit worrying, and it makes you think, right, what's actually going on here then? This isn't just a footnote in the financial pages, it's a bold, underlined headline that has everyone chattering. So, why the sudden change of heart from investors? Well, the so-called experts, the financial wizards who get paid to stare at charts and look thoughtful, are currently scratching their very expensive heads. This outflow, breaking that lovely 31-day inflow streak for IBIT, was genuinely a bit of a shocker. You see, these Bitcoin ETFs were meant to be the sophisticated, regulated way for big money to get into crypto without, having to remember a 24-word seed phrase or meet a shadowy figure called Crypto King 69 in a car park. The continuous inflows were seen as proof that institutional adoption was well and truly underway, marching steadily onwards. Many analysts are suggesting this could simply be a case of profit-taking. After a decent run, some investors might have decided to cash in their chips, plain and simple. It's not necessarily a signal of a broader market downturn. One analyst from a very important-sounding firm probably said, whilst trying to sound reassuring. Others point to the inherent volatility of Bitcoin itself. Perhaps some big players got a bit jittery about wider market conditions or some obscure regulatory rumor from a country they can't pronounce. The truth is, nobody is entirely sure, which is always comforting when billions of dollars are involved, isn't it? The significance of this event, however, shouldn't be understated. BlackRock's IBIT, along with a few other similar products, has been a key driver in Bitcoin's recent price performance and its journey towards mainstream acceptance. These ETFs are like the nice, clean, well-lit entrance to a nightclub that was previously only accessible via a dodgy back alley. When the flow of people through that shiny entrance suddenly reverses, even for a day, it makes everyone, both inside and outside the club, a tad uneasy. It raises questions about the sustainability of institutional demand, and whether the initial frenzy is starting to cool off just a little bit. What this means for Bitcoin's price in the immediate future is frankly anyone's guess. It could be a momentary blip, a statistical anomaly soon to be forgotten, or it could be the canary in the coal mine, signaling a period of consolidation or even a correction. Crypto markets are notoriously skittish, often reacting dramatically to news that, in traditional markets, might barely raise an eyebrow. So, if you're invested, perhaps keep a closer eye on those charts than usual. It seems the roller coaster isn't quite ready to pull into the station for a quiet cup of tea just yet. What a surprise. Now hold on to your digital wallets, because whilst BlackRock was having its minor outflow drama, another, perhaps more unsettling story was brewing over at the crypto exchange MEXC. They recently released their first quarter 2025 report, and let me tell you, it's a doozy. According to their findings, there's been a 200% surge in fraud attempts on their platform. Yes, 200%. That's not a gentle uptick, that's a bloody explosion of nefarious activity. It's as if every scammer, con artist, and digital miscreant suddenly decided MEXC was the place to be for their spring collection of fraudulent schemes. It's less exchange and more all-you-can-scam buffet. So, what kind of dodgy dealings are we talking about here? Well, it's the usual parade of horribles, but amplified. MEXC reported a significant increase in sophisticated phishing attacks, those cunning emails and fake websites designed to hoover up your login details. Then there's the classic identity theft, where scumbags try to pretend they're you to access your precious crypto. And of course, no crypto fraud report would be complete without mentioning market manipulation, including those delightful pump and dump schemes where fraudsters artificially inflate the price of some obscure coin before vanishing with the profits, leaving everyone else holding worthless digital dust. It's a veritable circus of cybercrime. The report also highlighted that certain regions are getting hit harder than others. While MEXC didn't name every single country, perhaps to avoid a diplomatic incident or a sudden drop in tourism, they did indicate that Southeast Asia and Eastern Europe were particular hotspots for these fraudulent activities. In these areas, tens of thousands of accounts were flagged for suspicious behavior. Imagine, entire networks of accounts potentially being used to dupe innocent users or wash illicit funds. It paints a rather grim picture of the challenges exchanges face in keeping their platforms clean, especially when the crooks are getting more inventive by the minute. MEXC stated that they flagged over 150,000 accounts globally in the first quarter of 2025 alone due to these suspicious activities. 150,000. That's a small city's worth of potentially compromised or malicious accounts. While it's good that they're flagging them, the sheer volume is alarming. It underscores the persistent battle between exchanges trying to implement security measures and fraudsters who are constantly adapting and finding new loopholes. It's a high-stakes game of cat and mouse, but unfortunately, the mice in this scenario are trying to steal your life savings with a keyboard. So, we've had BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF taking a bit of a breather and MEXC basically screaming from the rooftops about a tidal wave of fraud. What on earth does this mean for you, the average punter, who maybe bought a bit of Bitcoin after a particularly persuasive YouTube video? Well, first off, these two events, while seemingly different, both paint a picture of the crypto world's current state. It's still very much a work in progress, with plenty of bumps and nasty surprises along the road. The BlackRock news reminds us that even institutional adoption doesn't guarantee a one-way ticket to the moon. Market sentiment can shift, and big money can be just as skittish as small money. For anyone dabbling in crypto, the IBIT outflow is a useful, if slightly jarring, reminder that market volatility is part of the game. Don't make investment decisions based purely on hype or the assumption that because big players are in, everything is perfectly safe and sound. It's crucial to do your own research, and I mean actual research, not just watching more YouTube videos from guys called Crypto Guru 420. Understand the risks, don't invest more than you can afford to lose, and perhaps don't check your portfolio every 5 minutes if you value your sanity. Seriously, step away from the refresh button. Then there's the MEXC fraud report, which is, frankly, terrifying. This directly impacts every single crypto user because it shows just how rampant scams still are in this space. The advice here is pretty straightforward, but people still get caught out. Be incredibly vigilant. Use strong, unique passwords for every exchange. Enable two-factor authentication. No, it's not a suggestion, it's a necessity. Be deeply suspicious of unsolicited emails, messages, or calls asking for your details or promising guaranteed high returns. If an offer sounds too good to be true, it's almost certainly a highly polished digital turd designed to part you from your money. Looking ahead, what should you be watching out for? Well, expect more discussions about regulation. Events like these often spur lawmakers to look more closely at the crypto space, which could bring both benefits and drawbacks. Exchanges will likely continue to beef up their security, but fraudsters will also continue to evolve their tactics. So, the onus remains on you, the user, to stay informed and cautious. The crypto world can be exciting, yes, but it's also a bit like navigating a minefield wearing a blindfold, whilst juggling flaming torches. Proceed with extreme caution and maybe a healthy dose of skepticism. Good luck, you'll probably need it.